Hey guys! Today I want to show you how to do the tubular cast on for a 1-1 rib. This is what it looks like. You have a rib pattern, and when you look at the cast on edge, it looks like that the stitches go around your work. To compare it with the long tail cast on. The long tail cast on, you see a line and you just knit it up. With the tubular cast on, I hope you can see it, it looks like that the stitches, the same knit stitch here, goes around your cast on and straight up on the other side. And it's more stretchy than the long tail cast on. To cast on these stitches, it takes a little bit of practice. I also have to admit it took me a while, because the stitches at the beginning, they are everywhere on your needle and you need to see if you work on a purl or on a knit stitch. So just give it a bit of time, practice before you really cast on your original pattern. And you also need to know when you read you do a tubular cast on, that it's not just the cast on. Every tubular cast on needs 2 more setup rows before you really start with your ribbing. And I show you how to do it. So it is similar to the long tail cast on. We need a loop first, which is already our first stitch, and the needle comes from down up. Oops. So, and then again you have a tail in the front and your working yarn in the back. I put it inside my hand, I close the hand, you put your fingers inside, but then you spread it like this. This is your working yarn, this is your tail, and you work a purl stitch and then you work a knit stitch, and you alternate these 2 stitches. So we start with a purl stitch. For the purl we go under or over your working yarn, we come up in the middle, then we go to the front, we go over the tail and all the way under both stitches. This is our purl stitch, and you can see the bump in front of my yarn. This reminds you that this is a purl. For a knit stitch we go the other way. We go over the tail, we come up in the middle, we go over the working yarn and under both. Here you see there is no bump. in the front. This is my knit stitch. So the next again is a purl. A purl goes in the back, coming up in the front, all the way under both, coming up. Here's my purl stitch and a knit stitch. In the front, coming up over the back and all the way up. This is my this is my knit stitch. Then again in the back, in the front and under, my purl. Front, back and under, coming up. This is a knit. And my advice, don't try to count your stitches afterwards. Just count them while you cast on, because the stitches, they turn around and sometimes you can't see your stitches or you can count them. So here right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but this way also it can turn around and you can mix up all your stitches. So we have now 7 and this was a knit. So I go this way. Front, back, knit, purl, this is my knit stitch. So, and now I start, see it really looks different to a long tail cast. The cast, yeah, looks like different to the long tail cast on. They are not really well behaved on the needle. So from here you need to secure the tail, because when you just turn around your needle, your yarn might run away. So I just wrap the tail one more time around and then I turn my work. So, and then we start with the first setup row. We have 2 in total to do before we start with the regular ribbing. So what you do is, on the first row you slip your purl stitches with yarn in front and you knit the knit stitches through the back loop. So our first stitch, see the bump, is a purl. So I bring my yarn to the front and I slip the first stitch purlwise to the other needle. My next stitch, you see it is just in the wrong position on the needle. So this is why I knit my knit stitch purlwise through the back loop. I'm sorry. The next stitch, purl, I slip the purl stitch with yarn in front and I knit my knit stitch through the back loop. I slip and I knit. And my last stitch again is a purl, so I slip it purlwise, so, and now I turn my work. I finished my first setup row. And then we have to do the second setup row, which is the same. So I still purl or slip my purl stitches with yarn in the front, and I knit my stitches, not through the back loop anymore, because now they are just in the right position. So my first stitch is a knit stitch. So I just knit my stitch. Then I bring my yarn to the front and I slip my next purl stitch. I knit and I slip. I knit and the last one is a knit stitch. So this is my setup for the tubular cast on, and you can already see that this stitch here just goes around my needle. So when you finish the 2 setup rows, you can just start knitting your regular ribbing. So purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit all the way. And then it looks like this. Really, I encourage you, give it a try, practice it with a few stitches before you really cast on your original pattern. And you need to understand that when you cast on your stitches, you need the 2 setup rows to get started. And for me, it was at the beginning, I read Tubular Cast On. I didn't know how to do it, so I cast on, and it didn't work because my 2 setup rows were missing. And then I also watched a video, and then it made more sense, and now it's really easy, and I really like this edging. So, tubular cast on for a 1-1 rib. Happy knitting!